Oh, hello there, my fellow American. I see that World Cup mania is sweeping the nation, sort of. And if I'm playing the odds, you, as a red-blooded American, haven't watched a single second of soccer in 8 years. But are probably celebrating the U.S. men's national team advancing into the knockout rounds, baby! As is your right. Well, my countrymen, welcome to the knockout rounds. And from here on out, it's basically March Madness. It's one game, win or go home. And if you draw after the full 90, you got 2 periods of extra time. And if you're still tied after that, you go to the dreaded penalty shootout. And just like in March Madness, funny things are about to happen. So get ready for upsets galore, because here's the strange thing about this World Cup, which makes it different than any other World Cup I've ever seen. And that is, there's no big bully. Yeah, it's kind of wide open. So my prediction is some random country, some country that might not even be that great at soccer, just might get hot, make a run, and win the whole goddamn thing. And could, possibly, that country be the United States of America? Well, more on that later. But as usual, let me be your guide, give you a quick recap of the craziness that went down in the group stages, tell you how the favorites are looking, who might be the sleeper teams to take it all, and of course, what are the U.S. men's national team's actual chances versus the Netherlands. Welcome to a Clueless American's guide to the knockout rounds at the 2022 World Cup. But first, like FIFA, I gotta pay some bills. Guys, I want to talk to you about the most comfortable sponsor that I've ever had on this channel. Of course, I'm talking about Bird Dogs. These dudes offer the most comfortable pants that have ever graced these fat Asian legs. And I remember working a 9-to-5 job, and the worst part about it, the uncomfortable pants. So wouldn't you like a pair of business khakis that feel like sweatpants? Well, Bird Dogs got you covered. Look at the stretch, and it feels like silk. And you know what's also as comfy as sweatpants? How about sweatpants? And these pair of sweats called Mohanjobs Gandhi. Yes, that's the actual name of the pants. I didn't stutter. These things have built-in liners that feel like butter on your balls. Just imagine those cute little Charmin bears rubbing up against your thighs. With the fall season here, you can grab a pair of Bird Dog joggers, which are higher quality than Lululemon for $20 less. And hey, maybe you wear shorts in the winter. Doesn't matter if it's LA or if it's 10 degrees in New England. These signature shorts are so stretchy and comfy that you'll feel like Ned Flanders. It's like wearing nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. So what are we talking about here? Be it the workday, the weekend, or just lounging around at home, go buy yourself a pair of pants that your balls deserve. Because once these pants touch your legs, you won't be able to go back. So go to birddogs.com, enter the promo code BMOnus, and they'll throw in a free stylish Bird Dogs rope hat. That's birddogs.com, promo code BMOnus, and boom. The most comfortable shorts, pants, and sweatpants with built-in liners. You will not take these things off, I promise you. And if they aren't the comfiest pair of pants that you've ever worn, I will personally go to where you live and give you Mohanjobs myself. So once again, thanks to Bird Dogs for sponsoring this video. Now, back to the show. Now, if I could summarize the group stages into a headline, it would be crazy upsets, then right back to earth. Because the first shocker came bang, right out of the gate. Saudi Arabia beating tournament favorites Argentina. Saudi fucking Arabia took it to Messi. It shocked the world. Arguably the greatest upset in World Cup history. I can't name a goddamn player on Saudi Arabia. And they went up and punched the fucking goat right in the testicles. And the reaction from the Saudis, I mean, it says it all. Look at this. Look at this. This man just said, fuck your door. And then you got AK-47s going full clip in the air. And the best thing to come out of this upset is this gem.
경기가 끝나고도 기쁨을 만끽했습니다.
Excuse me, where is Messi? Where is Messi?
Where is Messi?
Messi down. Where is Messi? Messi down. Where is Messi? Down. Anybody see Messi? Where is Messi? Where is Messi?
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Messi down. Where is Messi? Where is Messi?
This viral clip single-handedly made Saudi fans out of all of us. And reportedly, every player on the Saudi team has been promised a Rolls Royce when they return from the World Cup. And how did they follow up this historic upset? They lost against Poland due to a horror mistake made by the defender, and then they got their ass blasted by Mexico to finish bottom of the group. As I said, crazy upsets, then back to earth. So yeah, maybe the Rolls Royces might get repoed. But then we had the second big upset, and that was the moment when the World Cup was anime. I said in my last video that the World Cup is just an anime tournament arc. And then it came true. And Japan did it in a kit that was designed by the guy who made the Blue Lock anime, a popular soccer manga and anime in Japan. You couldn't make this shit up. And at first, I mean, like Germany looked like they were in complete control. They got the opener in the first half. They were taking it pretty easy in the second, and maybe a little bit too easy, with Rudiger high-stepping on the Japanese. But then Japan came out after the half and went full attack on Titan, getting 2 quick-fire goals to stun the Kraus, and the Germans never recovered. And the reactions from Japan were amazing. Look at the Japan limbs at famous Shibuya Crossing, all while being polite enough that they would actually run back to the streets to let cars pass. And this is apparently how the Japanese celebrate, by being as polite as humanly possible, with the Japanese fans continuing their long tradition of cleaning up the stadium after every World Cup match they attend. win, lose, or draw. And even the players got in on it. This is how their locker room looked after this historic upset. Flawless. Flawless victory. But much like Saudi Arabia, they went on to lose their next game. But then, they repeated the script up against Spain, who up until this point was looking like one of the favorites at this tournament. And it was pretty much the same thing. In the first half, Spain scored 1 and looked like they were in complete control. Japan couldn't even get a hold of the ball. But bang, right out of halftime, 2 subs. And basically the same dude who scored in the first one did it again. And then the second goal is one of the most controversial calls in World Cup history. Look at how close this ball was from being out. In fact, a lot of people were debating that it actually was out. But VAR apparently found it inconclusive, and Japan held on for dear life, beating Spain 2-1 and topping the group, and in the process knocking Germany out of the group stages. This was the most chaotic moment of the World Cup so far, and I loved it. We all loved it. And I'll always remember it as the time when the World Cup was anime. And then there was my favorite moment of this entire World Cup, and that was on the final day in the final game of group stages. Cameroon were playing Brazil and needed a 2-goal win to advance, and the game was tied 0-0. But in the 92nd minute of extra time, Vincent Aboubakar scores a glorious running header, and instead of running and picking up the ball and trying to get a second goal to advance his country in the World Cup, he decided it was a better idea to rip off his shirt, get a yellow card, and then get sent off because he was already on a yellow card. And this man didn't give a fuck. He just scored against Brazil, and that's all that mattered, as he held up his jersey to the crowd to see his name. Even the ref was smiling when he gave him a red card. Hey, but I guess if you're gonna go out the World Cup, the most legendary way I've ever seen anyone go out. Cameroon, you're eliminated, but goddammit, the streets will remember Aboubakar. So yeah, I would say those were like the 2 kind of big shockers and highlights of the opening rounds. But enough of the appetizers. Let's get into what you really care about. How is Team USA looking? And so far, so good. You know, not bad. In the opener, we dominated Wales during the first half, and if not for an incomprehensibly stupid penalty giveaway by Zimmerman, we could have easily won that game. But Zimmerman's a bum, so we came out of the game with only 1 point. Their next match was against England, and in the lead up to that match, it was a toxic deluge on social media. After pummeling Iran, England fans were literally running through the streets naked. They were so hyped up that in England, all the talk wasn't if they would win against the US. It was only by how much they would win against the US. They thought they were going to absolutely batter us. And I hope to God, if you're American, that you just avoided Twitter before kickoff because it was a nuclear wasteland, and I mean more than usual. Any US men's national team post was just bombarded with English fans posting a million 9/11 memes. Like, goddamn, chill bro, chill. But then the game began, and the US actually outplayed England. Especially in the first half, we were dominating. At times, it looked like we were playing with an extra guy. He was so smothering. Now, it did end 0-0, but we made the better chances. We looked the more likely to score, and our midfield of a 20-year-old, a 23-year-old, and a 24-year-old outplayed their $200 million midfield. Tyler Adams, our captain, has been our best player at this tournament and easily outplayed England's golden boy, Jude Bellingham. This kid has earned himself a big payday after this cup, mark my words. Also, this draw meant that we kept our undefeated record up against England at World Cups. So please, remind every English fan about that every opportunity you have. Yeah, you might think about that before you post 9/11 memes next time. And speaking of which, you know what's the best part about that game? It was that afterwards, my Twitter timeline, silent. Wait, what's that I hear? Is that the sound of freedom, England? On behalf of America, I can proudly say, suck my dick, England. English fans went from running through the streets naked to throwing their beers up in disgust. Now the British media has since said that this was the master plan by Southgate to just secure the point and all but qualify for the next round. But we as Americans know the truth, and that is the country who invented the sport just got fucking dominated by one nation, under God, with liberty, and call it soccer for all. Now, as fun as it is trolling English fans, math still had us at 2 points in the group. But the shock Iran win over shitty Wales, it set up a win or go home scenario in our third match. And I don't know if you've been keeping up with American geopolitics, but America has been trying to overthrow or invade or just bomb the shit out of Iran since the 1950s. They don't like us, for good reason. And in response, most Americans can't find Iran on a map. But Iran had everything to play for here. They just needed a draw to advance into the next round. And considering this team was a symbol for the massive protests going on in their country right now, this team was literally fighting for the rights of their women. And when you see their women, you could see what they are playing for. And I would play my dick off, bro. Look at her. And on the other side, the U.S. men's national team, we just really wanted to win because, you know, America. And thus, the match versus Iran was a fucking nail-biter. Now, it was mostly the US in the first half. We had a bunch of chances, but the final breakthrough came through who else? Captain America Christian Pulisic scoring his first World Cup goal, but sadly he injured himself scoring the goal, and that's kind of been the issue with Christian Pulisic. Brilliant player at times, but he kind of gets hurt a lot too. Now, he tried to gut it out, but once we hit halftime, we were up by 1. They took him off for Brandon Eriksson, and after we lost Pulisic, old Greggy parked the bus. He took off most of our attackers and just sat in a shell, inviting wave after wave of Iranian attacks. Basically, playing the soccer equivalent of a prevent defense. And let's be honest here, the US could have easily conceded a goal or two. It was only Iran's shitty finishing that allowed us to advance. And while Greggy had us playing like cowards, it ultimately was enough to grind out a 1-0 win and advance into the knockout stages, and sadly break the hearts of a lot of Iranians. And waiting in the next round are the fucking Dutch.
2 things I can't stand in this world. People who are intolerant of other people's cultures, and the Dutch.
Now, what are our chances up against one of the historic powerhouses of soccer? Well, first off, this Netherlands team is more talented than the US. You got this one kid, Gakpo, who I believe is the young player of the tournament. He scored in all 3 matches he's played. But they are not nearly as talented as England, nor have they been playing as well. This isn't the golden generation that made it to the final up against Spain. This is a team that can be had. And I honestly believe that the US men's national team can beat this Dutch side. How confident am I? About a coin flip. I would say it's about 50-50 who wins this. I'd be a lot more confident if we had a healthy Christian Pulisic. Now, the dude said he'd be fine for Saturday after the game, but he said this while he was in a hospital bed. So is he going to be at 100%? Is he going to be at 50%? And then there's the biggest question about this US team, and that is, where the fuck is their most talented player? Where in the world is Gio Reyna? 3 games in, and he's made one 15-minute cameo at the end of the England game. What the fuck is going on? And this leads me to the biggest controversy with this team. Now, none of this is confirmed, but there have been major allegations up against the US men's national team coach, Greg Berhalter. Ex-US men's national team player, Eric Wijnaldum, alleges that the reason why the hyper-talented Gio Reyna has barely played at all at this World Cup is because of a personal rift between the player and the coach. And Berhalter went as far as to ask Gio Reyna to lie about an injury to cover up this rift. But when Gio was asked about his health, he said that he was fine and he was ready to go. So I don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't think anybody besides the team knows what's going on. All I know is someone isn't telling the truth here. But if these allegations are true, Berhalter has to get the fuck out. No man is bigger than the team, including the coach, and he's not even that good. He doesn't elevate the team. If anything, he's holding the team back. Literally refusing to play your highest potential player. Is that something you want out of your national team coach? Play the kid, Greg. Play the fucking kid. This isn't about you. It's about our fucking country. Now, I'm gonna take a deep breath, and I'm gonna say, despite all these dark clouds, I like our chances versus the Dutch. But just please, God, can we get someone else after the World Cup? Please. Please, God, Christian Pulisic be healthy. And please, God, Greg, play Gio Reyna. All right, I've ranted enough about the US men's national team. Moving on to the next big question. With the group stage is done, which country has emerged as the big favorite to win the tournament? Well, I'll tell you. The general consensus among everyone is, I don't know. Yeah, like no one is really sticking their neck out there saying they're like, oh yeah, France is so dominant. Oh, Brazil is definitely gonna win it. No, it's just pretty much how people felt before the tournament is how they feel about the favorites now. Brazil was the betting favorites, and they've looked as expected. Now, they aren't playing with as much flair as the early 2000s, but its more pragmatic style has seen them cruising to the knockout rounds thanks to one of the better defenses at this tournament. They still don't have a clear-cut striker, but the wingers are so damn good that it might not even matter. Vinny Jr. looks like his ass has rockets every time he's running down the lane. Now, the big knock against this team now is Neymar got his ankle rolled up in game 1, and after the match it looked like a grapefruit. Not good. But reports are that he'll be able to play in the knockout round. Is he going to be at 100%? Is he going to be at 80%? Still, I would say that they're the favorites until further notice. And then you had Argentina, who at first looked like they could be the big choke job of this tournament, because they opened with a shock loss to Saudi Arabia. And because of that, Messi faced elimination as soon as the second game. But that pressure could be building diamonds, as when his country needed him most, Lionel Messi returned from missing and brought balance to the elements, taking the game by the scruff of the neck and scoring a goal out of nothing. And as the little magician raced over to the Argentinian stand and let out a guttural scream, in that moment, you could see a country living through their avatar. They would go on to beat Mexico comfortably and follow that by battering Poland. So after that false start, they actually end topping the group. And with that, Lionel Messi's last dance World Cup keeps on dancing. And I don't see any reason why they can't win the whole thing. And then we have France, who despite being hit with yet another major injury, they lost Ballon d'Or winner Karim Benzema right before the tournament started in training, but they didn't miss a beat. And honestly, it's between them and Spain on who's looked the best at this tournament so far. As I said before, they're so loaded with talent that it doesn't matter. Benzema was replaced by Olivier Giroud, who has eternally been underrated his whole career. The man just scores goals, and Kylian Mbappe is showing the world, telling them to basically shut the fuck up about Erling Haaland, okay? I'm here too, and I'm pretty good at putting a ball into the back of the net. He's going to be in contention for the Golden Boot if France make a run. My concern, though, is pretty much the same. They weren't really tested in these group stages, and I want to see how a lot of these young kids, all these fresh faces, will perform in the big moments. And then there was England, who had been Jekyll and Hyde. They opened their campaign with an absolute decimation of Iran. It was 6-2, the second largest margin of victory of anyone in the group stage. They looked sensational, and then they go and follow that up by playing timid, hyper-conservative versus the US. And as I said before, they were basically outplayed by America. But then what do they do in the next match? They took Wales around back and just spanked them. Looked damn near like an exhibition. And honestly, I don't know if we've seen this team at full tilt yet, which I think is a good thing for England. They've been saving a lot of their best attacking options for when they need a goal, I guess. And Southgate just seems like he's under fire every time the team doesn't win by 3. But once again, at a major tournament, he's easily navigated them out of the group stages. And beyond the USA game, England are looking like one of the best teams in this tournament. They have scored some lovely goals, with Rashford being absolute dynamite when he gets the chance to play. I think the English don't want to jinx it, so no one's really talking about it, but this is a very winnable tournament for them, as long as they avoid a penalty shootout. And you know it's coming to England. Good luck. And as for the surprise teams, Japan top of the group, beating 2 European superpowers in Spain and Germany, that was simply glorious. But my weeb ass has already talked enough about anime, so moving on. I'm gonna eat some crow here because I was definitely wrong. I was wrong about Germany. Losing to Japan was not only humiliating, but ultimately sealed their fate, as they're going out in the group stages. This is their 3rd major tournament in a row that they've disappointed at. Then we have Belgium's golden generation, which never really generated any gold. Yes, they've been eliminated from the World Cup, and in the most heartbreaking fashion, with Lukaku missing chance after chance after chance. It was brutal. After the match, he was inconsolable, sobbing like a child and falcon punching glass barriers. Sometimes sports is absolutely brutal. But on a positive note, Spain has been a pleasant surprise. A lot of people, myself included, wrote Spain off. They don't have any superstars, and their golden generation was over a decade ago. But then they opened their campaign with the most one-sided destruction of any team in the tournament so far, shredding Costa Rica 7-0. And from that point on, they put everyone on notice. Tiki-taka is back, baby, with Gavi and Pedri really showing their class in the midfield. Looking back, maybe we should have seen this coming. Their 3-man midfield all play for the same club, Barcelona. Now, if you don't know, everyone who comes through Barca's academy is drilled since they're kids to play in this tiki-taka style. Then you have their coach, Luis Enrique, who used to play and manage for Barcelona. And the majority of this team have been raised and currently play in a similar Spanish style of soccer. So it should be no surprise that they have looked like the most cohesive team at this tournament. And in a World Cup, where there are no real super teams, Spain's chemistry has become their superpower. And even with their loss to Japan, they should still be one of the favorites moving forward. And maybe we shouldn't sleep on Portugal because they have made it look easy. Ronaldo is out here claiming goals that aren't his, and Rafael is smiling even before the ball hits the back of the net. They were through to the knockout rounds by the end of Game 2, and rested a bunch of the players in the loss to South Korea. Sensational ending to that match, by the way, if you didn't catch it. For you guys who don't know, South Korea needed a win in order to advance in that group, and it was tied 1-1 in the 95th minute of extra time. And off of a corner, the kimchi god Heung-min Son broke forward. There was basically no one around him. He was surrounded by a forest of defenders, but somehow, through the foliage of legs, Sonny Boy found an assist that would push South Korea into the knockout rounds right at the death of the game. It was electric. Drama of the highest quality. And in that moment, the World Cup was K-pop. And as for sleepers, I'm not actually going to give any sleepers this time, because I'm a jinx. All my sleeper teams from the last video, Uruguay, Serbia, Denmark, all of them eliminated. So I'm not going to single any team out as sleepers. All I'm going to say is, much like every World Cup before, someone is going to come out of nowhere and make a run. And now that it's win or go home, those David vs. Goliath moments are about to happen. Hope you enjoyed the appetizer, because here comes the main course, a healthy serving of chaos. Plenty of storylines abound. Morocco really surprises some people, topping a group with Belgium, Croatia, and Canada. Maybe they could be this tournament's Cinderella. How much longer will the power of God and anime be on Japan's side? And can one of these African nations knock off a colonizer or two? That is what you get to look forward to this week at the World Cup. And until then, I think I'll leave it off here. Enjoy the round of 16, gents, and I'll be back afterwards to break down the quarterfinals. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, man. It's been a lot of fun doing this World Cup content. And if you want more content from me, check out my breakdown of the history of the U.S. men's national team over here. And as always, I'd like to thank all my patrons keeping me alive and helping me pay my editors to get these videos quicker. I'd like to do a personal shout out to my newest patron, Can9Fox. Thank you, brother. And until next time, go America.